Let's see it.
He'll be on the play here.
Harmonic Blitz. This is awesome. I want to see this.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
We're
you need
super
to,
excited for this match.
You need to look at this list. If you think Harmonic Blitz sounds great.
Oh, no, I just looked at this one.
Okay, yeah, like Harmonic Blitz, that's cool and all.
I was a Wilderness Reclamation player, so.
This rec list is, it's not just a little spicy. I think it might be the whole rack.
Royal Grazer, which made me excited.
Yeah, Arboreal Grazer is great in this deck, I think. Also running Growth Spiral and a Eureka Moment, which is sick.
Yeah.
I like Eureka.
Basically a 5th copy, but digs 2 cards.
I was having this conversation yesterday. We believe that, like, my friend group that we were hanging out with, Expressive Iteration is just the Is It version of Growth Spiral. It's just doing whatever. It's just doing the blue-red version now. It's just getting more cards, and instead of ramping, you're just getting better card selection. Scalding Tarn from Alex, getting a Steam Vents.
That's unfortunate, though, for Alex. I feel really bad making a mistake on a deck.
You're good. Oh.
My question is what? So we just modify?
So in this case, what we did is we discovered that the deck list has 59 cards listed on it. So the player very clearly intended to play this card, and so we modified the deck list to take into account what the player intended to play. Anytime you modify a deck list, it carries a game loss. So it's just a pretty clear cut. Game 1 is over with loss there. Because they played cards, we allow a sideboarding for game 2, and that player lost game 1, so they had to play direct choice going into game 2.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you very much for the official ruling.
Our player was pretty apologetic. Obviously the conversation is very different if we have any suspicion of cheating. There was none in this case. He's very nervous, and that's understandable, especially as you start playing competitive Magic like this. You think an infraction like this is the end of the world, and you're a terrible person, and that's just simply not true.
Yeah.
We're humans. We make mistakes. There's a policy to handle these mistakes. Sometimes the penalty, in this case a game loss, feels a little more harsh than others, but this is a big one that preserves tournament integrity. You make a simple mistake, there's the penalty, and you just carry on.
Yes.
So he certainly still has an opportunity to win the match.
Yep. Awesome.
These are a lot more feel bad when you discover an issue like this with maybe a random deck check later in the round in game 3 or game 2,
Right.
and then a penalty decides the match. So
Yeah.
it's actually really, really positive thing that this is game 1.
Yeah.
Everyone still has a chance.
Well, thank you very much.
Any other
Our
questions?
expert judge taking care of our tournament as always.
Well, I'm not an expert. I'm human, just like everybody else.
You can still be an expert human. So, thank you very much, Aaron.
Let me know if you have any other questions.
All right.
So handled very well, and very obvious just deck filling out mistake with 59 cards. And didn't you do that, Taryn?
Yep, that's we were just telling the story. I showed up late, so got a game loss for being late. Won that round, won 6 in a row, made the top 8, and then had made an error in my haste to fill out the deck. So that was a Harmonic Prodigy. Got countered by a counter spell.
Yeah,
There's also a DRC in the graveyard.
He does actually, in the Blitz deck, he actually does run a little more counter magic in the side than I would say most do. He has 2 counter spells and a spell pierce.
2 counter spell, 2 spell pierce. I'd have to imagine. Well, if he knew at least.
Yeah,
what he was playing
it's still
against,
pretty
he would've
tough
countered
because
it.
all you saw was a creature and a couple lands.
Yeah.
Right.
So
But this Harmonic Blitz deck, he has a grip of, he has 2 bolts for sure right now. Can't really tell what else he has in there.
How many lands is the Temur deck running?
That's a bolt
26,
in hand.
I believe.
26. I figured it was at least 26.
At least that's what he had told me yesterday without you having to count them all.
So that's a land go.
4th land, that's a Growth Spiral. Good. Let's draw a card, let's put a land into play. Oh yeah, love to see it.
Triumph.
All in the end step. 5 mana.
There's the Gearhawk.
We have land number 6.
That's probably a go.
Mhm.
I'm so sad. I want to see that Opus in the graveyard.
So that was a
Arcane Laboratory. To get some wizards back.
Riptide Laboratory, right?
Yeah, Riptide Laboratory. So that's a Lava Dart and an Opt?
so
No, spell
electing
pierce.
to put the breeding pool in tap. So we're not going to see Gearhawk right here. I wondered if we would get an untapped land and play the Gearhawk and Growth Spiral or something like that. But I think that
Well, you're probably gonna hold it a little bit more because he only has one Gearhawk.
no reason to try to put pressure on here. The long game plan more than likely favors the control-y player.
Yeah.
Although if Harmonic Blitz gets the wizard down, Harmonic Prodigy, and starts to kind of combo off, that would be an obvious problem.
Yeah, I think he's able to take the game a little bit slower too because he's been able to answer every threat so far, and he's still at 15.
And we have a bolt in hand,
Would
ready
say.
to fire off on something. Draw, put a land into play. Like clockwork. Well, does he save it?
Yeah, he's got enough things to save it here. I think he has to. Oh, he's just gonna return it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Time walk him.
I think he's almost forced to do that because he doesn't have a whole lot of threats left in hand with such a high life total. You need that threat to do something.
Land. So we know he has Gearhawk and expansion, explosion. What's the other spell he has tucked away in there?
A cryptic command is what it looks like to me.
Okay. All right, Serum Visions. Tapped a red source.
No, he
No,
tapped
no,
the blue over there.
Okay,
The red was for the Soul Scar, and the blue was in for the serum.
gotcha. Looked up a little late. Stormwing entity or a mutagenic growth? I think I'm going for the entity here. On top, yeah.
That spell pierce.
So if Temur just finds a wilderness reclamation, is that
I mean, it has the expansion explosion.
That has
so
some
I
Yeah.
think that's
sickness,
perhaps-
doesn't it?
Player's still a little.
which of all the people in the shop for Alex to be playing against, I think he's playing against probably one of the more level-headed people that we have in the shop, more fun
Yes.
opponents.
Yeah.
Robert's a local here, so
Oh, my favorite quote is I pay for my 50 minutes and I'm playing the full 50.
when your license plate says you
Nope.
Also, we have proof of that because, as you may tell, he is 1-0-1, so he got his 50 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
he just went to
Not
top.
about 60 minutes.
No stranger.
Spell
to
Pierce on the expansion explosion.
That makes sense.
Player who has more draws than losses.
Some may call him the shop's most interesting man.
What gets me about him though is he'll show up for 50 minutes and then he'll come with dredge one day and it's like I'm the first one done every time. It's like, bro, what do you do?
Let's see here. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So is that 2 bolts, a dart, and a swarming entity?
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, that's a lot.
And Robert's kind of running down on cards in his hand. He still has the Gearhawk.
We also had the cryptic command.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't see what the other card is. Thank you.
But he also just has like
So he passed right there. So Lava Dart, good. That's a prowess trigger. This is so awesome. I'm sorry. I know I'm gushing. I just love this tournament atmosphere, tournament magic going on.
Can't beat it.
So, do you think Alex is going to be out once this gear haul comes down?
I think he's got almost enough burn, and then he has a flyer.
I think if I think if
Let's
String
see.
Bean gets what, well, Robert Stringbean is what his local name
name
is.
is.
Jackson just
Um,
said, why did he go to 11? Wasn't he at 14?
He had to fix his life total.
Oh.
He probably just wasn't updating it. I think you also saw the prowess player fix his as well, because I don't think
Gotcha.
he was doing it
They
either.
probably just hadn't kept the dice up to speed. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
It's a little bit hard for us to ask that of them,
Yeah.
because they have to write it down and stuff, and then you're adding like an extra thing for them to do.
There's the Gear Hulk. We have blue up.
I assume we're targeting a counter spell here.
I wonder. He just needs to bring his license plate in one day.
Honestly,
And
well,
just
I'm gonna
set
go
it-
unattach it on his car right now.
So yeah, Gearhawk hits the counterspell, putting the storming entity to the graveyard.
And here's Bolt.
And bolting Gear Hogs. Well, Soulscar has the negative counters, so he could go to attack. Oh, he's gonna double bolt it.
Apparently, once
I
the
think
power
this was
triggers to
almost-
get through.
I think this was more
Right.
of a check to make sure he didn't have anything else in his hand.
Yeah.
And
But little did you know, we still have a cryptic.
yeah, so now our
that's it,
Blitz
though.
player is out of cards in hand.
They're in.
We
top
know
deck
we know
mode.
his top card though.
True.
Mutagenic Growth. So
He's
in
at 6.
6.
Mutagenic Growth's gonna come across for 4, and he has Lava Dart in his graveyard, so he actually has lethal here. If he didn't fire off that Lava Dart, I didn't see it.
He didn't fire off the
he didn't.
Flashback Lava Dart.
yeah, he didn't do the flashback
Yeah,
of
so
it, I
he
believe.
technically has lethal in his hand, except obviously he's facing a cryptic, but
So
The nice thing with Cryptic is there's so many modes where, yeah, you can tap their team down or whatever, but obviously in this situation with only one Soulscar, bouncing it is the better option
slowing it
because
down.
then it doesn't have haste again.
yeah, which kind of interesting. He chose to run because of the wizard thing. He cut the monastery Swift Spears for the Harmonic Prodigies.
We went from 6 to 8 life.
I don't know.
Sir?
We were at 7 and attacked. We were at 11 and attacked for 4.
Yeah, he
Or-
went to 7 and went down to
6 and then went back up
Or
to
did he
8.
mistake the 6 for a 9 and then he fetched down to 8?
no, he was at 11 and took 4. Went to 7. Soulscar attack for 4.
Because he put his die on 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was like a miscommunication where one of the spells went or something like that, or something didn't get cast.
He didn't have a way to gain 2 life.
I'm looking real quick.
1, 2, 3, and 4. We only have 6 mana. I was gonna say, what if we just draw a Nexus?
I assume we're going to get a bounce
Draw?
draw.
Oh, he
Tap.
tapped it. Same effect in this case.
No, because
No.
next turn you play and it doesn't
Well,
have.
he drew the Opus, so
He would just
Okay.
well, he did it. He did it before combat. So it's
yeah,
the
he
same
just
effect.
tapped it.
He didn't want to take any damage. So
So if you bounce it,
Well, no. So
He
the
just
reason
plays it in
he
the second
the
main.
reason he
second main,
hold on.
gotcha.
the reason he tapped it is because if you target it and you return it to your hand, the Cryptic's going to fizzle
right,
because it
you
no
would
longer
have
had the
some
valid
share.
target anymore. So he tries to
Gotcha.
tap him instead of
And then
getting it returned
right.
to his hand.
that makes sense. I see that line of play, and you're right. If you
He
do
has
it
the
during
open
attack
mana.
phase, if you do it during attack, then what I was thinking was you take 1 damage. If he doesn't do any spells, and if he starts doing spells, mutagenic growth, then you bounce it.
Yeah. No, I
And if he doesn't do any of those spells,
it's just one.
then you take 1 damage
bouncing
and
on instep.
bounce it on instep.
Yep.
Oh God!
There it is.
Hard
The 8 mana
cast.
Magma Opus.
I don't know what all that. You're probably gonna have to read that one.
It makes a 4/4, deals 4 damage, divided as you want, and then you draw 2 cards as well.
And it taps down.
Taps 2 permanents as well.
Yeah. Very
So,
cool stuff.
Did he send them all to the face? I think he did. He just tapped it. Makes a 4/4. And then it also has the mode pay red blue hybrid mana and make a treasure.
Yeah, discard it from your hand. Make it
Discard discard from your hand. So
Some people confuse that with cycling.
Yep.
It's not
Yeah.
actually cycling.
The idea with having it in this deck is obviously you can hard cast it, but you can just pay 2 mana, accelerate yourself, and then have a sweet target to hit with Gearhulk later.
Right.
So we have a Castle Vantress. That's going to come down. Is that
Getting in with a 4/4.
getting in with a 4/4? That's an Anger of the Gods.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be blowing up the or forcing the mutagenic growth here at the very
Yeah,
least.
especially with the Riptide tapped, he's not going to be able to return
With
the creature
exile,
to his hand.
anyways.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's casting the mutagenic.
Yeah.
to
Taking the
save his
damage.
creature.
So, what are we afraid of here? If we're in the Temur Reclamation spot,
Well, there's a Lava Dart in the graveyard still, right?
yeah.
you're afraid of expressive iteration.
Well, that's not going to be the one that does it.
Fetch to 6. So now we're just leaving up a blocker.
No, he attacked with 4/4.
No, we're saying for Harmonic Blitz here,
Oh, yeah,
Alex.
yeah.
I don't. Can you not return it and then replay it? Can you not attack?
Yeah, he could.
He could.
Because the 4/4 attack last turn, so you can attack.
Yeah, he can get in for 1.
The only reason I don't know if you'd want to do that because you do want to save it probably for like combat trick with like a cryptic command and stuff like that, or anything to target it to remove it. You can kind of
Or
fizzle that spell out.
is getting 1 damage in here and being able to replay it and block and lose it next turn better than being able to block it and return it at instant speed during combat before you
Oh
lose
yeah.
it.
The 1 damage probably doesn't matter.
So like I think at this point we're just looking at playing the Soulscar Mage again and again and again as a consistent blocker.
We got a scry, then we have what looks like an upkeep scry with the castle, which finds us a cryptic command.
Seems good. Seems good.
Seems good.
Seems good when you got a 4/4 in play.
Bounce, draw.
Again, I still don't think you want to try to bounce.
Because they're just gonna fizzle it.
Because if you select a target for the
Yeah,
card
if
and
you
it no
select
longer
it.
has the target,
But doesn't it also say target player draws a card?
So we're sacking a mountain for a lava dart.
no, I don't think so. Or it works the way of
Oh no, it just says draw a card.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what he
you're
did
right.
is he put a -1/-1 counter on the 4/4, and then only took 3 damage. He didn't block.
Mhm.
and I could be wrong, but I think on spells like these, because they resolve down,
That's a
as soon as
DR.
one of them doesn't work, like it gets like prevented, I think it forces the spell to then fizzle.
So the DRC goes through.
I could be wrong.
It sticks. It has land, creature, instant sorcery.
Yep.
Yeah. That's delirium.
Again, though, Robert has the cryptic in hand, so
Yeah, this is a tap hit.
tap
go
hit
about our
game,
day.
right?
Tap hit and call it good.
He's just covering all of his bases to make sure there's nothing tricky coming from the graveyard, anything the Riptide thing can do.
We're not looking at a Snapcaster coming down to do something. Or for a cryptic. Tap bounce. That's it.
Yep.
And perfectly synced up was 2 other people high-fiving each other in the background.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Temur Rec takes it down